Hi, everybody. This is Jay Moore. I'm the founder of The Ordinary Christian, and I'm here to bring you this week's Missional Living Devotional. I'm so glad that you've decided to subscribe and to get these weekly devotionals. It's my prayer that each week it encourages you, possibly equips you, and maybe even empowers you to live a strong, bright, light, missional life that shines the light of Christ. Today I want to tell you a parable that Jesus told, and it's a parable that describes the kingdom of God. He says the kingdom of God is like a woman who takes just a little bit of yeast and puts it into the dough, and it begins to permeate and spread throughout the entire dough. Now, in this passage, which is found over in Luke chapter 13, verse 18, it's about the dough is the world in which we live in, and the yeast is the kingdom of God. Now, as we're living a missional life, joining God on His mission, Christ on His mission, to go reach people for Jesus, to make disciples for Christ, we got to remember this parable because it's important. When we are sharing Christ, we are sharing the kingdom of God. When we're sharing Christ in the world, it's like the yeast going into the bread. Now, yeast, when it gets into the bread, it begins to permeate, it begins to saturate, it begins to infiltrate every part of that dough. And likewise, in our communities, the world that's out there, the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, the message that we're here to bring needs to hit every segment of our community, every segment of our society in which we live in. The yeast begins to affect every area of that dough. And likewise, the gospel in our community needs to affect every area, segment of our community. So here's what I want you to think about. Think about your community. Look at all of the different people groups that are there, lifestyle groups that are there. And begin to think which groups actively have a strong witness for Jesus Christ in it. Which people group, which lifestyle group are being powerfully touched by Christ, by the message of Christ. But then ask yourself, which segments of your society are still untouched or have very little contact with the gospel? Who knows why? The reasons of why is irrelevant at this point. The question is, what are we going to do about it? We're the ones who are supposed to be the agent that, like the yeast, infiltrates into every segment of society. Like the yeast getting into all of the dough, we who are followers of Christ, who are shining the light of Christ, are to go into every segment of society. No group left untouched. So I want to encourage you, look at your community and ask yourself this very important question. What area is still, or what areas are still left untouched? What groups of people, lifestyle groups, people groups, are still untouched? And then ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to be intentional and begin to build bridges into that community, into that part of that of your community, into that lifestyle group? Are you going to begin to build friendships and relationships so that you can begin to share Christ into that part of the world? Now, I got to tell you, as you do this, there are going to be times when it's scary, seems uneasy. But as you intentionally go and you're looking to see where God is at work, and you're testing those waters, remember, you're just doing your job, which is going to make disciples. Let every part of your community be touched with the good news of Jesus Christ. All right, that's my devotional this week. I pray that you'll go out and you'll begin to look at your community and ask yourself, what part still needs to be touched with the gospel of Jesus Christ? All right, we'll talk to you later. Take care. God bless.